Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me for a conversation on cooperative learning. I was interested in exploring this teaching and learning method because I really appreciate how it addresses both academic and social development and acknowledges how those can have an influence on each other. I have taught a lot of student workshops in the past, and I hope to do a first-year seminar or sophomore experience seminar in the future, and thought that some of these techniques would be helpful tools to have in the toolbox. So I'm hoping that by the time we spend a few moments together, that you will have a deeper understanding of this method and will have some useful information that you can utilize in your classroom as well. So I'm going to get rid of my mug here so that you can see what's going on. We're going to talk about cooperative learning through 3 5s, 5 characteristics, 5 benefits, and 5 techniques. But first we'll talk about what cooperative learning is. Now, you may have heard collaborative and cooperative learning used interchangeably, and sometimes that is accurate, but there is a distinction between them. Collaborative learning is a teaching and learning method in which students approach a topic or a challenge through group work and exchange. It approaches knowledge as a social construct, very student-centered, very active. Cooperative learning is a more specific form of collaborative learning that considers both the individual and group aspects of learning. It's defined by 5 essential characteristics. Positive interdependence links the success of the individuals within the group to the success of the group as a whole, so members should come to rely on each other as a team. Individual accountability ensures that all individuals within the group are responsible both for their own performance and learning as well as that of the group, and that seeks to avoid situations where you have 1 or 2 people doing the bulk of the work and everybody else freeloading. Group processing requires that individuals reflect on and regulate their actions in regard to the needs and the goals of the group, both as a whole and in respect to the individual members. It requires that members identify actions that are helpful and unhelpful and make decisions together about how to continue or course correct. Promotive interaction is communication with and within the group that's positive, focused, and benefits both the individuals and the group. This is what allows the members the opportunity to give and receive feedback productively. Interpersonal and small group skills can be developed through teaching and learning just as intentionally as academic skills. Formal efforts identify and reinforce positive displays of leadership, teamwork, decision-making, trust and community building, communication, and conflict resolution. So in action, we see 5 major areas of benefit in cooperative learning. Intrinsic motivation is the first. It's known to be an indicator of learning and mastery on its own, as we discussed in class, but studies suggest that effective cooperative learning can be both influenced by and a strengthener of intrinsic motivation. Research shows that students from the most effective cooperative teams express goals that related both to their overall learning and their social responsibility to their peers. Diversity, awareness, and tolerance does rely on groups being heterogeneous, but small groups can create opportunity for positive interaction with diverse others that students may not have had an opportunity to interact with meaningfully before. In discussion, members have occasion to share perspectives shaped by race, culture, gender, all types of individual experiences. For example, cooperative learning has been shown to increase both the quantity and quality of interactions between students with and without disabilities. Questions raised are also going to create situations in which members disagree, which forces students to consider opinions that might be different than their own. The ability to communicate with others of diverse cultures and viewpoints is valued not just as a personal attribute, but a professional one, and that's a skill that continues to gain importance in increasingly global and sometimes uncivil workplaces. The small group structure allows for all members in the group to be heard, which offers opportunities for members to provide feedback to others on their team and to receive it on their own work and adjust accordingly. And that's not always possible in the larger class environment. Group processing also promotes problem solving that's dependent on strong communication and negotiation among the members. And the accountability structure means that students are more likely both to take ownership of their own work and to assist team members in performing at their best. All of those things reflect the kind of environment that students are probably going to encounter outside of college. In fact, the National Association of Colleges and Employers Job Outlook 2018 survey asked employers what attributes beyond a strong GPA that they were looking for in applicants. And problem-solving skills and the ability to work in teams tied as the top responses. In group work in general, they can be a great means of breaking down a subject that might be too extensive for a student to approach individually, and is also a productive way for students to compare knowledge and work through complex concepts together. And as students learn from the peers, they also develop a deeper understanding of the information that they're teaching. Research shows that articulating an idea or a concept requires high-level cognitive skills, such as the ability to mentally organize the steps in a process. So when a student shares information, they're also building confidence in their own understanding. Furthermore, as competency increases and group members recognize their contributions to the team's work, members' self-confidence and self-esteem increases accordingly too. And in development of social networks, promotive interaction requires that group members trust each other and that they demonstrate positive means of challenging and acknowledging each other's views. So it's not unreasonable to speculate that some of the relationships formed in cooperative groups might extend beyond the classroom. Connecting in College, a book on how friendships are formed in college, confirms that many friend groups are established through interactions in class. However, honing the social skills necessary to consider diverse opinions and to negotiate and communicate with a group effectively also develops social aptitude that translates to other social situations. Multiple studies have shown that students who have participated in cooperative groups are more likely to self-select more ethnically diverse interactions in post-instruction situations. Additionally, the social skills that you develop in cooperative groups, learning how to allow others to speak, explaining thoughts clearly, resolving differences, those are applicable to any type of social relationship. So what does cooperative learning look like in action? Basically, any active group learning that fits the 5 characteristics that we talked about can qualify as cooperative learning, but we're going to review some tried and trues that have proved successful as examples. And Think, Pair, Share, it's often utilized as an informal tool since it's simple to construct and it doesn't take much time to complete. The instructor poses a question, allows students to formulate their answers individually, and then allots time for students to pair up and discuss their responses. This can be a good warm-up to class-wide discussions because it gives students a chance to reflect on their own understanding and then rehearse their responses with a peer before sharing with a larger group if they aren't very comfortable with that. In note-taking pairs, students are given direct questions and asked to summarize their understanding of a topic based on their class notes. Then they compare summaries with a classmate, and that allows students to fill in gaps in their own comprehension. In the fishbowl technique, small group of students sits in a circle facing one another to engage in discussion on an assigned topic, and another group of students stands around the circle to observe what and how ideas are exchanged. Students in the inner circle model promotive interaction, while students in the outer circle critique the first group's discussions. In a jigsaw structure, students work in small groups to develop knowledge about a particular topic and how they might teach it to other people. Then they regroup for a discussion with students who have developed expertise in a different area of the subject. And that allows students to piece all those aspects together for a broader understanding of the topic overall. Now, case studies aren't a new technique, but the group can be structured to incorporate the elements of cooperative learning. In reviewing real-world examples, students are employing critical thinking and problem-solving skills, since any given problem examined might be approached in multiple ways. Now, assessing these types of learning can be a challenge, and that both individual and group work has to be considered, but instructors can be creative in constructing rubrics that address both. Group learning might also require a bit of mediation because not every group is going to get along all the time. Prepping students on how to work productively in a group is essential before group work even begins. We can't assume that students really know how to work in groups, even if they have worked in groups before. And remember, educators are not removing themselves from the process in cooperative education, they're facilitating it. So, can you recall any of the characteristics, benefits, techniques that we covered? Please feel free to look back if you'd like to review. Once mastered, intentional cooperative learning can be a powerful pedagogical tool that promotes both academic and social development. Thank you for joining me.